Hi everyone, my name is Lindsay Petridge, and for my Accessibility Observation and Information project, the two public spaces I chose to focus on were Knoebels Amusement Park, located in Elysburg, PA, and Regal Hazleton Movie Theater. So, some of the major reasons I chose these two places were because I thought it'd be interesting to see what they offer to any individual with an exceptionality. For someone without an exceptionality or disability, we usually do not think of how attending an amusement park or movie theater could be difficult for us. However, going to these public spaces may not be such an option for persons with exceptionalities. This reason could also tie into one of our previous assignments and lessons on people with exceptionalities being allowed or accepted into public spaces. Another reason I chose these two places were because I thought they would be more diverse topics to cover than, say, a grocery store or shopping mall. I kind of had this thought because grocery stores, shopping malls, they're almost necessities. So it's almost as if they have to make adjustments for persons with exceptionalities. But what about leisure activities for someone? Since these places, amusement parks and movie theaters, are not exactly necessary for people, I still think that they should make the most accommodations as public spaces for persons with exceptionalities. A third reason I chose these two places is because they're currently open during the ongoing pandemic. I'm also familiar with both of them. I live remotely close. I have a few friends who worked or have worked at both of these locations, and they may be familiar with some policies or accommodations that they offer to an individual with an exceptionality. The reason I think it is so important to observe these two public spaces are because I think a person with a disability or exceptionality should have the same opportunity at leisure time as anyone else, and these establishments should make the most adjustments to allow as many included as possible. Not even specifically these two locations, establishments, but all, say, amusement parks or movie theaters should do the most they can to allow as many people to enjoy as possible. I believe that not only they should be given the most adjustments, but I think it is important to learn and see what every establishment may offer to a person with exceptionality. Without hearing what they offer or seeing what they can do, someone may not know and be able to make use of the accommodation and may miss the opportunity to attend one of these public spaces. I also think it is a great way to spread awareness to exceptionalities and seeing someone with an exceptionality in a public space and how we can treat them or offer our help. So first, I'm going to focus on Knoebels Amusement Park that is located in Elysburg, PA. I live about 30 minutes from this location, and it's about 20 minutes away from Bloomsburg, so I thought it'd be interesting because it's somewhere right in the middle, something I think a lot of us are familiar with. So one factor I thought it'd be important to add in regards to Knoebels Amusement Park is that it is a free admissions park, so you don't have to buy a ticket to be in the park, only tickets or wristbands, etc. to ride the rides. Meaning that, say, someone with a physical disability who's in a wheelchair, they may not be able to ride the rides, but they could attend the park and access things that are accessible for them. As for finding the accessibilities they offer and the information they have on their website, it was pretty easy to find. I first looked up Knoebels Amusement Park, went onto their website, and then went under the information tab, and then the guest tab, and then accessibility information came right up. I think that is really important and interesting that it's easy to find on their given website. One thing I found very interesting that Knoebels Amusement Park offers is the courtesy wristbands. This is offered for a person with any permanent physical or mental disability. It states on the website that this allows guests to board the rides through the exit gate, and the courtesy band holder must ride in order for the guest accompanying him or her to enter the ride through at the exit gate. It also has mentioned that both of the riders must still pay with either a wristband or tickets to get on the ride. I just think this is interesting and definitely a good idea. The exit gate is usually a ramp, so it makes it more accessible. This accommodation that they offer would obviously be very helpful to anyone who may need to use the exit ramp. For example, someone in a wheelchair who's physically disabled or simply has crutches. In regards to riding the rides, it states on the website that the ride operators are not permitted or trained to physically assist guests onto or off the rides. It also states that all of the restrictions still apply. So height requirements, you have to be a certain height, weight, and medical restrictions, so they watch out if you're prone to seizures, stuff like that. After reading that on their website, I thought it'd be interesting to reach out to see what training they have and offer to staff. So after speaking with a good friend of mine that works there as an employee there in regards to training, I found out that the only training they do for safety is kind of like a CPR certification and Stop the Bleed, which taught them about tourniquet uses. During their training, they also are taught and stressed the Good Samaritan laws. They really said that to handle the situation the best way you see fit and always call someone higher up for help. In regards to lessons on helping with someone with a disability, the only one that this specific employee remembers is they had a small lesson on how to treat or help someone who was handicapped. More information that was included on their website for accessibilities were parking, renting a wheelchair or electric convenience vehicle, restrooms, first aid, and service animals. So Knoebels Amusement Park provides handicapped parking for vehicles that display their handicap plate, and they're located at the front of the parking lot. As for renting a wheelchair or electric convenience vehicle, they're available on a first-come, first-served basis and are allowed in the park. Most restrooms at Knoebels are wheelchair accessible or have a family restroom. The park also provides an adult care center that is for adult and personal hygiene needs. There's also a first aid station located at the park, and it is staffed from 9 a.m. to an hour after closing the park. As for service animals, they are allowed in the park as long as they're kept under the owner's responsibility at all times. Knoebels Amusement Park also requires that a person who may be in a brace, sling, cast, or splint to carry a ride release card. This can also be issued to guests with prosthetic devices. My second public location I choose to observe is Regal Hazleton Movie Theater. This is about a half-hour drive for me and about 45 minutes away from Bloomsburg, so I thought a fair amount of people will be familiar with this place. I've been there many, many times before, but I never noticed what they may offer to someone with an exceptionality or disability. One amenity and accessibility that they offer is everything is wheelchair accessible. Handicap seating is available in theaters. However, one thing that I thought about is that there's only seating offered on one level. So, for example, if you're in a wheelchair and you'd like to sit at the top of the theater, you cannot do that because it's only offered on the one level. The parking lot at Regal Hazleton Movie Theater does offer handicap parking located at the front of the parking lot. You just need proof that you're handicapped, such as a license plate. So after speaking with someone at Regal Hazleton Movie Theater over the phone, I found out that they do allow service animals to be in the theaters as long as they're under the responsibility of the owner at all times and taken care of. An amenity that Regal Hazleton Movie Theater offers for hard of hearing are these headphone type devices. I've personally never seen them, but the employee I spoke to explain them almost as a headset that adjusts the volume. I think this is especially important for those who may be partially deaf, or have hearing aids, and could definitely improve their movie quality. Another amenity they offer is subtitles. They offer this for a person who may be partially blind or deaf. I didn't get a lot of detail on these, but I can imagine they just put them up on the screen like any other subtitle would be. I personally think that both of these accessibilities, amenities that they offered are very good, but they're currently not being offered because of COVID-19. I could see for the headphones because they have to be passed around, they're used a lot by multiple people, but I don't really understand the subtitles during the pandemic. I mean, if it's on the screen, I'm not sure who that's harming, and if movie theaters are open, I don't see the harm in that. So we know that seeing movies for the blind or deaf obviously isn't very easy, but that doesn't mean they should have to miss it. So this is why in 2016 the Department of Justice published a final rule on the Americans with Disabilities Act. This rule required places of public accommodation, like movie theaters, to provide reasonable accommodations. The final rule dictates pretty much three main requirements, and that is to have and maintain the equipment necessary to provide closed captioning, provide notice to the public about these features, and ensure that the staff is available to assist patrons with the equipment before, after, and during the movie. So after seeing all of these accessibilities, amenities offered at these two different public locations, I thought it'd be a good way to wrap it up and add in what to do and what not to do when you see someone with a disability in public. So starting with what to do, it's always important to just be respectful and never talk down to them. No one ever wants to be patronized. Number two, definitely if you see them struggling, offer genuine help, but never just insist on it. Ask them. They may not be comfortable with someone helping them that they're not familiar with. And number three, if appropriate, ask a person about their disability. An example of this is to offer to take the elevator instead of the stairs if you see they have an issue with walking or something like that. Some things that you should definitely not do if you see someone, don't ever distract their service animals. You should not be offering treats. We saw that both of the locations we looked at were allowing service animals to be there, so I feel like it was very important to add in. You should never play with someone's device as their wheelchair or electric vehicle, and always try to be courteous by not getting into their way. It's very important to always remember, if you see someone with a disability struggling, ask before providing assistance to them. Be kindful and respectful to their answer, and the best thing you could do is be knowledgeable. As for cultural sensitivity, some things that may be offered at Knoebels to possibly help diversity would be rides for signs, being in different languages. I know one thing they do have is food. They have different culture food, so the one section's like Western and other sections American, so I think that is helpful. As for movie theaters, we can go the route of subtitles again, and we could see if they're offered in different languages, what, if any, foreign movies are playing with foreign actors or actresses. So for the disability awareness activity, we must link relevant resources and disability awareness being held near us. I'm going to specifically focus on something that my old high school would hold called the Spartan Games. It was an athletic event designed to promote athletics and competition for students with disabilities, grades K through 12. The Spartan Games started 4 years ago and became an annual event taking place in May. In 2019, it included students from over 17 area school districts and over 800 athletes. It was sadly canceled this year due to COVID-19, but many in the community and school district get involved to make that day happen. So this will bring me to the end of my accessibility observation and information project. I hope that the two public spaces, Knoebels and movie theaters, continue to make more amenities available for persons with exceptionality.